Hi everybody, it's Tony. I wanted to say it's the Abstractionist because that's the other channel. Welcome to the Red Room, aka Into Red Room. In the first video that I have for the channel, I explained the whole debacle with that. And it's not really a debacle, it's more like logistical reasons why. The name is the name. Today or tonight or this morning, it's 1:30 in the morning. It's Sunday. It's November 13th, I think, something like that. And I'm here to do a Menses reading. So this is a womb-centered space, and so Menses are part of that essentially. I decided to incorporate these readings because they didn't work on the Abstractions, which is my other channel. But I felt like they were important, and I felt like as an embodied practice that they would be something that people may want to look into. Energies between the different parts of your cycle, the different, like the luteal, menstrual, follicular, ovulatory phases. I also have my own personal womb struggles with PCOS, so I do use Menses readings from time to time to gain a little bit perspective on the body. And whenever I pull the cards, it does give a little bit of insight of what's happening, even as I can feel what's going on, So this is going to be a collective kind of Menses reading. It may be very specific for someone out there. Basically, the point of this is to have all four parts of your cycle: your ovulation, ovulatory, follicular. You can reverse that because follicular comes first. Follicular, ovulatory, luteal, and ultimately your menstrual phase. And the relationships between them, there may come up like issues and stuff like that with regards to how you're feeling. And so hopefully you gain some insight or perspective. So I'm using, as far as decks go, the Mother Piece Around Tarot deck. And then I'll probably use the Carolyn Mize archetype cards. Just gonna double check. Eventually, like I said, the space is going to change. Even if I just get like a cloth. I never seem to have one that I like anyway. I'm going to not take reversals. It's a round deck and it can go directionally, but I just don't feel like taking it like that. It's just very easy to read. I kind of want you over here. Okay. Ancestors, guides, it's a good order. I ask that you deliver these messages. This collective Menses reading. I ask that all the information be for the highest good of the person who needs it, the person who's watching. Don't let any interference come in with any negative energies, entities. Let the clear truth come out and clear action come out. Clear solutions, resolutions come out. Okay. Very fitting card, I think, for the first one. All right, we have the follicular phase, your Six of Wands, Eight of Cups for your ovulation, ovulatory, your luteal, temperance, your menstrual, Four of Discs, Four of Pentacles, Seven of Discs, and then healer for your archetype. Just so you know, because this is dealing with an actual bodily system, this is not meant to be taken as medical advice. I'm not a doctor, so it's not a medical evaluation of you. It's more of a spiritual, energetic that just happens to follow the phases, of your menstrual cycle. So it's not meant to be medical diagnosis at all. So take that, you know. So we have Six of Wands. Immediately, what I'm going to say after saying all of that is this may be one where you have lower energy, a menstrual cycle where you have lower energy, or the PMS is a lot more noticeable, a lot more prominent. This could be trigger warning after some sort of loss of a child. So this could be like the first menses after losing a child. And that could be a shock to the system in some sort of way. Some sort of way. It could be a shock. It seemed like it started off really well with the Six of Wands. Like the follicular phase feels very bright, energetic. It feels really satisfied with the fact that it is shedding, it is wanting to shed. It's like a readiness and a willingness of the body to do it. When you get to the ovulation phase, there's a little bit of hesitancy. So I don't know if you feel supported emotionally, or you feel like some sort of depression or some sort of feeling of being scattered or stretched. It may come that your energy levels are shifting. It also could come that during the beginning of this cycle you were very good at energy levels, and as far as relating to other people, it was a lot brighter, it was a lot sunnier. Something has shifted in terms of your Six of Wands to Eight of Cups. It's almost like you had a lot of energy and a lot of things ended up coming up to take that energy away, whether it be positive, negative, neutral. It does seem like eventually you've been spread too thin, and for that reason the Temperance comes up after that. The Eight of Cups, you could be also distracting yourself in this time period with lots of different things, particularly if this is a loss. You have been spreading yourself pretty thin, taking on a lot of things. I don't know if you feel like you have to. If things don't get done by you, then they won't get done at all. But I would definitely maybe suggest like not doing that, particularly if this is, you know, like I said, the first period after such a loss. Taking it easy, resting, recuperating would be best. And I think also maybe working on the mental space that you have as far as psychologically working through it. So I definitely would suggest maybe like a therapist or something like that. I don't know if you want to wear the color blue. It seems like a very dense color this time. It seems like very attractive to lower like energy or just sluggish energy. So seeing a lot of blue around you may bring you down a little bit. So I definitely would keep the more warm colors here as opposed to like the cooler ones. Subconsciously you could feel stuck on like a situation. Like I said, it could be that when it comes to like trigger miscarriage or something like that, but it could be something where you feel like you haven't achieved something yet, like Son of Wands and Ace of Swords. So it could be like some sort of project, some sort of conclusion, some sort of use of your mental skill that you keep fighting to actualize or fulfill, or feel fulfilled or something like that. Like it's like you're striving for that, but you don't necessarily feel like you ever hit it. Like it's like the goalpost keeps getting moved, but it's kind of by you. Perfectionism could be coming up. issues with that definitely could be coming up. You may feel like you have to do it because you want to be. You may feel that your role in life or in the relationships you have is to entertain other people. And that's not necessarily the case. It could be a role that you fell into naturally because of your personality or your character, or it could be what you were pigeonholed into based on characteristics and the limits that people had for you. But I do see that it's kind of limiting you in some way, because also you may have a clarity and want to speak your mind about some things, but you're not able to because you're pigeonholed into a certain personality, into a certain archetype, and that also dictates how people expect you to communicate back to them. They don't, like, if you have the healer card, people expect you to be like really soft and almost perhaps avoidant of really harsh topics. And what's happening here is that if you haven't spoken up on those really hard topics, or spoken your truth, or said your truth, come to some sort of conclusion with people, or made it known that this is what it is, or this is the conclusion, or this is how you truly feel, then that heaviness is weighing you down. So it's weighing you down, and it's causing this stuck energy. And so you have to relieve that by speaking your truth and opening up. When you move to temperance, you could be causing some sort of disturbance within yourself, primarily because it could be outside of that archetype that you have been placed as when it comes to other people placing you as it. Like you're stepping out of that bounds. But when you have healer, it is healing you to speak your truth and to say what you want, and to say the things that have hurt you, and to say the things that you're going through, particularly if you have lost a child, like the stuff that you have gone through. So the light attribute of this, because it didn't come up reversed, is passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help transform pain into healing. So I do think that, like, sharing this stuff will be really helpful for you, because you'll be able to let some things go, and you'll be able to process it. Now, if you want to go to a therapist, I think that would be like a great option for you, because you'll be able to like speak it out with somebody who can help you traverse like what's going on here. You could also want to undergo some sort of body care ritual, body care system, whether it be like ancestrally or something that you naturally feel drawn to. I think it would be a good fit for you, but you would have to like choose one based on what you think is like most appropriate for you, or something that a professional would think is more appropriate for you. I do think if you have been angry at God, or angry at your family or higher power for putting you in this role, or giving you these tasks and making you figure it out, particularly if you're talking about God, like making you figure this out of why you're here, or why you're going through this, or what's the point of all of this, particularly if you were happy and all of a sudden things have gone 180 and you feel like you've lost like things that are very important to you. You're kind of moving in between those spaces. The moon. The moon, two of discs. I do think that there is, with this, ultimately at the end of this, there is some distance between this event and your mental space, but I do think your mental space, like it's your mental space, the psyche, subconscious space is really strong. Like I don't feel like it's watery per se. I feel like it's dried earth, like clay, but it's very dehydrated clay, and so it's very dehydrated clay. It needs some replenishing and some nourishing. And to do that, you have to look at it and actually evaluate it and actually think about it and process what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what that input, what that sensory input is. So some of you guys haven't, I'm going to say touched, but some of you, well, really it is. Some of you guys haven't really touched your own body, whether that is that you're not really bathing or taking care of yourself in that way, or you haven't touched your body as in just like in a reassuring way. Like touch feels really, the word forbidden came up, almost like if you hold yourself, or even if you let someone else hold you, you'll fall apart, right? Like you're not at your wit's end as in like a sort of mania. It's like you just, if you've been trying to hold it in, like that intimacy may break you down, and so maybe you're like avoiding that intimacy, because if you would break down. With that four of discs right there, it would be, you would break down and you would immediately close up. But the warning against that is that if you do that, the healing may be incomplete. And so the seven of discs comes in to kind of not necessarily warn against, but letting you know that fully releasing, fully going through all of the cycles with your body is kind of a function that helps your body. Just like emotionally going through all of these cycles helps you. Now, if you stop and you start, that's fine, but ultimately you will have to go through some process. You'll have to leave 7 to go to 8, 9, 10 to complete everything. So you can take as much time as you want to, but ultimately you do know in your mind that there's some experience of fulfillment and completion that you want to eventually be in. There's a timeline of that you want to be on, and you know that there's some work that you're going to have to do to get there. But you stopped a little bit, like it may be, because this is a very spiritual card with the Temperance here. Look, it's an actual ritual happening. So it seems like the intimacy or the experience of being in this healing phase may have been too much, particularly when it comes to just the beginning phases of shedding. And acknowledging may have been too much, and it could have sensitized you a lot, and so subconsciously you've halted things. It's not that you're closed off to the idea of healing. I think you're just closing off to the idea of healing quickly, particularly if it's other people's expectations and in the way that they want you to. And you may feel like your healing is to fulfill someone else's selfish desires so that you can function in a way that benefits them. So this could be like if you're taking a capitalist stand, a lens, your job needs you to be back in a certain amount of days or you'll be fired, you don't have PTO, stuff like that. Like, so you're putting off all of this stuff because of external factors, and you're building a wall up. But circling back to this, you're putting in a lot of energy in doing all these things to please other people, and you are going to have to please yourself at some point. You're going to have to make the stand that you're going to complete the cycle, that you can't stay in 7. Like I said, you got to go to 8, 9, 10. I don't even feel like you're at 7. I feel like we end at the 4. And 7 is kind of like the energetic waiting for you to get there so that you can at least be there, which will open you up to maybe like experimentation with touch or experimentation with body work, being touched by another human being, and sharing that intimacy once again, even if it's not a sexual intimacy, particularly if you've lost a child. It could be just the intimacy of someone holding you or touching you or doing body work on you, or energetic work. Being in an intimate setting where energy is exchanged. Like where the intention is not purely functional, as in like you're at a job. It's intentional, as in we're working through things. I'm here and we're facilitating this space so that you can facilitate healing within yourself. So we end off the reading with the 4 of discs. I do think, like I said, that the process of this was maybe a little too intense, a little bit too soon. And you may think, like I said, the people have selfish desires for your healing. They have selfish reasons for you to heal, for you to speed it up. And you're resisting that. But ultimately, you have to understand that the healing is for you and you alone. And if you separate other people from it, it's necessary for you to do. So I do feel like we have the 5 of Cups, the 10 of Cups, and then the 4 of Cups. I do feel like this may be one of the menses that you don't really feel as connected to your body as you normally do. 10 of Cups isn't really like happiness to me. It's just a completion of a cycle where you're engaged. You're engaged with what's happening. You're engaged and understanding of your cycle. This one feels like you may not be so sure. Like you may not be so sure if it's strong enough to complete. You may not be so sure if you just may not be so sure about where your body is right now, especially if you're healing from some sort of loss, body loss. It could even be like a surgery, like, and that has disconnected you. You felt like a disconnection from your body because you haven't been in full control of what has happened as far as like what you needed to do to heal, right? Like you're not the surgeon that removed something. If you needed surgery to remove something, or if you needed surgery to correct something, you weren't in control of that. With that 8 of Cups, you would like to be in control of that, and you're not. And knowing that you have to surrender in that way may disconnect you from your body, and you're getting rehabbed into that. And it could be a minor surgery, but if you're especially used to being in control, that is something that you're working through. And you're used to having periods where you're connected fully throughout the entire cycle, and you complete the cycle. You go from follicular to ovulatory to luteal to menstrual. But it's just something that you've experienced that has disconnected you, and I feel like there's been a stretch of time that you've been disconnected. So like getting back that connection will be really important. I think taking some time to process what has happened will help you. I think that comparison, you shouldn't worry about comparison to other people and even other cycles of self. I think other than noting more clinical, analytical, I guess, details, but as far as demonizing how you feel now as opposed to back then with how you see your cycle, I wouldn't linger too much in that. And so I think it is a healing time for you. I do think that the archetype of healer is definitely healing oneself. and then working with someone who can facilitate healing or help to facilitate your own healing, by being like a space for you, or being facilitator, body work, or energy work, or even counseling. But it starts with you. You started with a really strong self embodying energy. And so that is something that is innate to you, even if you don't feel like it. But that is kind of your starting energy, and I think that's what always will be your strength. You just have to get back to it and reconnect with yourself and have that clarity of mind and presence to go forward. So that is what I see for the Menses reading. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this reading. It's the first reading for this channel. Ta-da! But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next month. So these will probably be monthlies, because Menses are monthlies generally if you don't have any other issues going on. All right, thank you for watching. Thanks for watching the Red Room, or Enter Red Room. Bye.